Okay, that's my thing. Justin? Justin, can you hear me? Okay, good. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on February the 15th of 2022. It's right at 9:30 on the digital clocks. And at this time, I would like to have Pastor E.J. Lanham from the Field of Grace Church come up and lead us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, God, we come to you this morning thanking you for your goodness. As we look around us, we must thank you for all the blessings that we see, for we know that every good and perfect gift comes from above. God, it comes from you. Lord, this morning we pray for wisdom. We pray for discernment, that God, we would honor you in our decisions. Lord, we be good stewards of these things that you have given us. God, we would know how to allot the finances that you have provided us with. God, we would do things to exalt you, not just in our hearts, but in this county. God, we would help you to use us. God, we would be good stewards of all that you've given us. God, I would pray that we would do things according to your way and to your will and not our own. God, you would help those that will speak today to say things that would bring honor to your name. God, have us to know the wisdom, to know what to say and what not to say. And Lord, all things that we do this morning, of course, is to bring glory to you. For we know, Lord, without you, we are nothing. There's no good in us except the God in us. Lord, this morning we simply exalt the name of your Son, Jesus. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pastor Lanham. At this time, Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Mitchell? Yes. Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
All present?
Thank you. Treasurer's transfer report, does she have anything? Okay.
I'll make a motion that we accept the treasurer's transfer report as presented.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell to approve the treasurer's transfer report as presented. Any questions by members of the court? Hearing none, Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Presentation and approval of all bills.
Fiscal include a $1,180 pay to ACJEA for a winter conference. And the total bills is actually $1,914,923.
Second.
Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Rahill, a second by 3rd District Magistrate Laswell to approve the bills as presented. Any discussion, members of the court? Hearing none, Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Treasurer's report.
This includes the appropriation condition report, monthly revenue, fund receipts, and award distribution as of 1/21/22.
Thank you.
I'll put it to form a motion to accept treasurer's report. Second.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 4th District Magistrate Rahill to approve the treasurer's report as presented. Any discussion, members? Hearing none, Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Approval of minutes from February 1st of 2022.
Motion. Second.
Got a motion by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by 2nd District Magistrate Logston to approve the minutes as presented from the February 1, 2022 meeting. Any discussion, members? Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We have no presentations, but we do have some old business. Kevin Moon, the Bullitt County Clerk, purchase of the barcode printers for the election.
Good morning, everyone. When you all had given me the approval to go ahead and get the new voting machines for the county, I had mentioned, I don't know whether you remembered or not, but I had mentioned that there was a small printer that I was going to come back later because Hart InterCivic didn't make this piece. And all I was worried with before was just the Hart InterCivic voting machines. We use a company called 10X. The Secretary of State's office it's their vendor for the electronic poll books where we do the voter check-in. There is a barcode printer that can be attached to that. And as part of the Hart InterCivic system that we've already got, we need this barcode printer so that we can then scan the barcode to know which ballot face Joe is supposed to get, that Dennis is supposed to get, and that every other voter in this room is supposed to get. And it's a ballot on demand, but we need this barcode printer. There is apparently some shortage going on in the computer industry for chips, not unlike what's happening in the automobile industry and Ford with all the trucks. I have found a vendor who can get me 40 of these, and that's what I'm wanting to buy. That gives me some spares in the event that one were to die on me. Also in the event that we had to open up more stations for service. We've got some extras built into this system. They're $250.37 a piece. It's $10,014.80 plus some shipping expense that I don't know at this point. What I'm coming to ask you all is, election supplies and equipment are the responsibility of the court. Will you all give me authority to go on and buy them out of the excess fees of my office? And then they will pass over to be the possession of the county, but I will have paid the bill. If you all give me the authority to do it, then I've got the paper trail for auditing purposes, so I don't get a ding on my audit for having paid for something that I didn't have authority to pay for. And that's what I'm really here for today, guys.
Okay.
Kevin, I mean, I know you need it, and I do support it 100%, but I guess I need to ask John, or Robert, and everything. Can it be paid for through your office, or do you need to present that bill to fiscal court? You see, is anything wrong with that,
I
Robert?
mean, ultimately, it's the requirement of fiscal court to pay for election equipment. But I think what Kevin's proposing is that normally he would turn excess fees over to fiscal court.
Right.
So that's money that fiscal court would be entitled to. He's asking if he can just buy these out of the excess fee money. So it's just a matter of what it's going to look like on the books and paperwork. I mean, it's still going to be fiscal court paying for it because that's money that you would have received. And I think it's just a way to kind of expedite it and move along quicker. So as long as you check with the auditor, there's no issue from their end, and I don't see any problem with doing it that way.
I just want to get clarification on that, and I'll be supported, and I'll put it on my motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Kevin. We got a motion by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by 2nd and 3rd District Magistrates Logston and Laswell to approve the purchase of the barcode printers, and we'll transfer the funds back to the clerk's office when needed.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yes, sir.
Just hang around after we do the vote.
Okay.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with this.
All right.
Once you run off from the podium.
Okay. Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logsdon?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Motion
Thank
carried.
you all.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, just real quick, I think we asked a couple of meetings ago, and there might have been some confusion. Early voting, how exactly is that going to take place? I mean, elections on May 17th on Tuesday. We've got the major high schools, I believe, that we're using. Can you just give us an update on?
Sure. Since that time, I've met with the superintendent of the school system. We've discussed it. They are doing testing the last 3 weeks of the school year. He has suggested and offered to me, and after this meeting is over, and I'm going to go to 3 of the middle schools. He is suggesting that I look at Zonton, Eastside, and Bullitt Lick. We use Bullitt Lick. Eastside and Zonton, he tells me, are pretty much twins, and that the layout of them are the same. The gyms are comparable in size to what's at Bullitt Central, and he's telling me that he can do things to make sure that I have parking. The board and I have a meeting scheduled for next week to discuss this. We may be in those 3 middle schools for the early voting instead of the 3 high schools. And one of the things that I'm looking for, you've asked the question, I'll be very candid with you. I'm looking for the ability to get our voters in and out. Bullitt East is not ADA friendly to bring them through the doors from the parking lot straight into the gym, which means effectively we have to close Bullitt East for early voting, Thursday, Friday, Saturday before Election Day, and then also on Election Day on the Tuesday, the 17th. Plus a couple of days in advance to do setup, maybe, maybe not, and at least 1 day afterwards to try to get our stuff out of 5 locations. North Bullitt is no better. They have that secondary gym at North Bullitt, but it's on the back side of the building and it is not visible to the public, and I don't know exactly what the parking lot looks there. The parking at North Bullitt, you have to come through the front doors to get to the gym. It's the same story as Mount Washington. You're looking at closing the school down for a week to 8 or 9 days. That's not good. If they can get me into these 3 middle schools and it looks like I've got the space and secondary doors to where I don't have to go through the front, they can get me parking to handle, several hundred to thousands per day through this thing, then I may very well, to the board next week, make the recommendation that we move to these 3 middle schools instead of the high schools. I don't foresee any problems on Election Day because the whole school system closes down. I asked him about doing NTI for the 3 high schools, and he's like, I can't. He said this testing has to occur, so I have to keep the schools open and live and in person. So, does that help?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kevin. Under new business, second reading of zoning ordinance 2022-03 HC development.
I want to say something here, we'll make a motion and everything on this, this is my district and everything. Appreciate what John has done and everything over the years and everything. Back several months ago, we had, we passed an ordinance and everything dealing with our traffic study and the drainage issue and everything, and we had certification on the drainage, certification on the traffic study, and we have not received either one of them, or at least I haven't seen anything on and everything. But the way the thing stands and everything right now, I have to follow the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission and everything and deny this request.
Rob? Yeah.
Second reading, Common Kentucky County Bullitt zoning ordinance number 22-3. An ordinance relating to the changing the zoning of certain property from agricultural, stream reserve, and R1 residential to R3 residential. The property in question is 68.75 acres, more or less, located at Highway 44 East and Foster Lane in the unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of the public hearing of the Joint Planning Commission, the recommendation of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held with the Fiscal Court. Whereas the court disputes and rejects the recent Joint Planning Commission for denial of said zoning change, and disapproves and rejects the recommendation of the Planning Commission in this matter, is set out in said minutes, and based upon its own findings of fact, determines the proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, the more particularly described in the minutes of records of the Planning Commission, in document number 2021-Z-28, is hereby changed from agricultural, stream reserve, and R1 residential to R3 residential. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect upon passage of publication required by law. Section 3, change section provision requires this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction. Then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions, to the extent they are consistent herewith, hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the first day of February 2022. Given second reading and vote upon at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 15th day of February 2022.
Thank you, Rob.
And ordinance number 2022-03. The motion still stands.
And for clarity on your motion, Magistrate Mitchell, are you voting for or against?
Master, if your intention is to turn it down, the motion would be to disapprove ordinance 22-3 and follow the recommendation of the Planning Commission to deny the rezoning.
You have to find the findings of facts and everything to...
Not to vote it down, no sir, because the request is not in compliance with the comprehensive plan. So if you're going to just follow the recommendations of the Planning Commission, then you would just make a motion to not approve ordinance 22-3 and deny the rezoning request. So basically you're voting this order. Because when you draft an ordinance, you draft an ordinance to approve something. It's not, again, it's your all decision. So any ordinance I draft is to approve. I don't draft an ordinance to not do something. So the language of the ordinance is to approve, because that's the way every ordinance is. So if you do not want to approve this, then your motion is to not approve ordinance 22-3.
No, I do not want to approve this rezoning whatsoever.
Okay. Then your motion would be to not approve 22-3 and to deny the rezoning.
I'll second the motion to deny zoning ordinance 2022-03 HC development. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Logsdon?
I want to make a comment before I do vote on this. This is very interesting because obviously planning and zoning made a recommendation to not approve this. I'm a real estate broker and auctioneer. I'm going to make a vote, but I also want to make a couple comments too that kind of I see as the future of Bullitt County. We heard a lot of testimony from a lot of different people here today, and it seems like traffic concerns are some of the major concerns. But also I know that the opposition of apartments has been brought up several times, and I'd be kind of remiss if I didn't say that I do see the need for apartments at some point somewhere in Bullitt County. My daughter lives in an apartment, and I live in an apartment, and there's a negative stigma, I think, with apartments that I think in a lot of cases shouldn't exist. I think there's a lot of apartments that are built, and particularly Louisville's built a lot of very high-end apartments that are very, very nice apartments, and they're built very well. And I hear anytime somebody says apartments, they cringe and think of crime and think of different things, but I think we're in a different day and age where apartments are being built, very luxury type apartments are being built. I don't know necessarily the plan of the developer in this case, but I do just want to, this apartment thing has been weighing on me because we do need in Bullitt County affordable housing, and there are a lot of options, I think, for apartments that are built nice, that have a good aesthetic to them, have a good price point, and whether they appeal to young executives, whether they appeal to seniors looking for a maintenance type, less maintenance type living. I do think there's a need for that in the future, but I am going to have to agree with Dennis in the fact that we as a fiscal court have been very adamant about before we make any changes, particularly changes that may overrule the planning and zoning's recommendation, that we want to see a traffic study and a drainage study. In this case, I haven't seen a traffic study or a drainage study. I know it's a significant investment in this property, And it would have been, in my opinion, nice to see that in order to make an evaluation of whether that turning lane, how it would help and how it impact. I didn't see a traffic study, I didn't see a drainage study, so for that reason, it's going to be difficult for me to overturn the planning and zoning's recommendation. But I do want to point out that I really feel like somewhere, and it could be this property in the future, but I do feel like that the need for affordable housing, nice apartments, are needed in this county. My daughter's dying to move to Bullitt County and she can't find a place. There's 60 houses for sale in 40047 zip code, 40165, 40166. Of those 60, 30 of them are new construction homes that won't be finished until another year. 3 of those homes are only 3 of them are valued at under $200,000. So we've got a lot of people, and I not only speak for myself, my daughter's impacted by this, but there's a lot of people wanting to move to Bullitt County that just quite frankly can't afford it anymore. And I've been kind of set back and I sat on this and I wanted to voice this because apartments aren't all bad. I lived in apartments in Bowling Green when I lived there on the airport there, and they're still nice apartments. A lot of people fear apartments are built and they're really nice when they're built. But then 5 years, 10 years down the road, maybe there's newer apartments that are built and those people jump to those and that creates that lower income type crime situations. But I do feel like that we as a community got to, at some point, realize that apartments aren't all bad. I mean, statistics sometimes show that maybe there's higher crime in certain level apartments, but I could take you to 4 or 5 different apartment complexes in Louisville that's built right now, and they're absolutely amazing. They're a place that you want your mom to live or your grandma to live that are really nice. And so, I wish that I've seen a better vision, I guess I could say. There's just, I don't know what the plan really is for this property. It seems like there's still a lot of, back and forth, so it's hard for me to overturn the planning and zoning's recommendation. But I do want to talk to you all in the back as far as developers that I see a need for this, I really do. I just, right now at this point, I mean, the number one complaint in Bullitt County is traffic on Highway 44 without a doubt, if anybody you talk to. And we've got to address that infrastructure. But it's a double-bladed sword. The infrastructure is not going to be addressed until the population's hopping, but we're getting there. There's a lot of things that have been working in the right direction to make improvements to 44. But I just wanted to talk because the apartment thing's got me bothered. A lot of people was okay with bringing more traffic, even putting a school in. A lot of people was okay with, more houses. The apartments is what really seemed like set a lot of people off. And I just want to speak out loud because I don't think all apartments are bad. I think if they're built the right way, priced the right way, it could be an advantage to Bullitt County to help out a lot of people in this community, particularly some of my family members that would like to get back here but just can't afford it right now because of the price of home increases. So I just want to say that, and I'm sorry that's my soapbox because there are really nice, multi-family apartments, patio homes being built. And there's a lot of hard-working people living in apartments in our community, and I just don't want them to be underserved. But with that being said, I'll have to agree this time that I'll vote yea in favor of objecting to the approval recommendation and have to go along with planning and zoning right now. If I were to see a traffic study and how it was impacting traffic with the turning lane and see a more clear picture of the type of apartments, the way they look, the aesthetics, the homes. Right now, it's just all I'm hearing is kind of percentages, is 20% of this and 80, not really seeing anything. I've got to kind of go with my heart and say right now that I'm going to agree with Dennis on this one. But it was tough for me, I'll be honest. I mean, I know there's 15, 20 people here that are impacted by this because you live right there, but I've also got to think about, all the people that are trying to move into our community that don't have places to go, and this is not enough evidence for me to object to the planning and zoning's recommendation.
Well, the only thing, I'm not against the apartments or the houses. I'm strictly opposed to all this traffic. We've got no place to put all this traffic and everything. When you look at the amount of traffic that's on 44 right now, there's an alternate road and everything on the east and west. There's no way we can handle this traffic. We just can't do it. But I just want to emphasize, I've got nothing against the houses or the apartments anyway. It's strictly the traffic that's killing.
In the traffic, this isn't the first development that we've looked at considered to maybe possibly overturning, but we emphasize this to other, not you all in particular as a developer, but I can't really go against what we've said in other meetings and other minutes. We've emphasized the fact that we need to see a traffic study. It's not required by planning and zoning, but if we're going to overturn a recommendation, I need to see some type of evidence of how that's going to impact those residents, and right now I just don't see it.
Okay. Sam, have you started calling the roll?
Yes, that was Mr. Logston. Mr. Laswell's next.
Yes. I'm going to follow the recommendation of planning and zoning and vote no on ordinance 2022-03.
Mr. Rahal?
I guess I'll get a soapbox now. No, just on what Mr. Lawson says. The biggest thing is 44. We're gonna fight that. This administration has been up Frankfurt. They're doing everything in the world that they can do to get that done. But I want to insist on everybody in here that call your state reps, call your senators. They're the only ones that can get 44 changed. That is a state road. I know there's a perception out there that the county's not doing anything. The county's doing whatever they can do to get this done. But this is a state road. They have determination on getting it moved, getting it widened. And I'll tell you what, it's a job. If you've ever researched it and see what it's going to cost and how it's going to be, it's going to be a job to do. But that's the biggest thing. Eventually, we're going to have to do something. Just like you said, you get on MLS, there's no houses for sale. I mean, it's amazing. We want growth. We want to bring people in this town. We want to do what we need to do, but we've got to figure out a way. The only new builds you can build now is with Fisher homes. It's amazing to me. If you've ever looked at a Fisher home and decided there's a situation there that needs to be adjusted, but that's the only way that we can build homes next year. And that's bad. To have one, and if you look at the prices of these homes, we've got to figure out how to get us there. The only way it's going to get us there is we got to figure out on 44. No, I do not. I mean, I drop my daughter off every morning. It's got a turning lane right in front of Bullitt Central. Every morning I'm in that line 30 minutes. Every morning. And I understand, but you start pulling 300-400 houses onto that 44, it's going to be a problem. But I'm not against growth for sure. I'm in the business, I'm not. But I am against, tearing up people's livelihoods and tearing up their homes to be able to do that. And the only way we got to do that is 44. And that's the biggest thing. And I appeal to everyone in here, call your senators, call your state reps. We got to get that done. We're pouring enough money into the state. They're pouring up with our population. We're pouring a ton of money into the state. They can start pouring more money into us, for sure. But no, I agree with Dennis on this. Dennis and the judges. We've got to figure out infrastructure before we start piling people on top of each other.
Okay. Thank you, Magistrate.
Judge Summers?
I'm going to stick with planning and zoning's recommendation and vote no.
And Mr. Mitchell? Motion carried.
Okay. Thank you. Number 2, second reading zoning ordinance 2022-04 R&W Warehousing LLC.
I'll make a motion to accept the planning commission recommendation on
Read it first.
Dennis, you're getting the cart before the horse
Yeah,
here.
I'm kind of hurried.
Slow down.
Go ahead.
All right. The second reading of Kentucky County Bullitt zoning ordinance number 22-4, an ordinance relating to changing the zoning of certain property from agricultural to IL light industrial. The property in question is 9.42 acres more or less, located at 2385 North Crescent Highway in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County to the evidence of public hearing of the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendation of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing of the Fiscal Court. Whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in, adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendation of the Planning Commission in this matter is set out in 7 minutes. In terms of the proposed zoning change, acceptable should be approved. Now therefore be ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Kentucky, Section 1, the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, more particularly described in the minutes of records of the Planning Commission in document number 2022-Z-05, is hereby changed from agricultural to IL light industrial. Section 2, this ordinance takes effect on passing of publication as required by law. Section 3, should section provision of this ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall be effective and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions to extent they are consistent herewith are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the first day of February 2022. Given second reading and voted upon at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 15th day of February 2022.
Thank you, Rob.
I'll make that motion again, then. 2022-04, and we accept the planning commission's recommendation. This also brings this into class. Everybody can read it. Right. So it does all right. I'll put that forward.
Second.
I have a motion by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by 4th District Magistrate Rayhill to approve the second reading of zoning ordinance 2022-04, R&W Warehousing LLC. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rayhill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Okay, 3, 4, and 5, actions requested on the asphalt bid, stone bid, and the fuel bid. Robert, good morning.
Morning. Y'all got copies of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the Mago is one that we're looking to go with again. Haul come in 25 cents cheaper on the base, but they were $2.75 higher on the service. So when we average that out, without a doubt, we're going to save our money with the Mago. So, but that.
Quite a bit of savings there is. Quite a bit of savings there.
Yeah, and especially when this went up about 12% from last year. So, because last year we was paying $42, and now we're up to $47.75. So, luckily we pushed our paving last summer on through, and we got some of our spring paving done last summer, so it worked out that we did actually save on that. So, but Mago will be the one that we pick. So,
Okay. Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Rayhill, a second by 3rd District Magistrate Laswell to approve the Mago contract for asphalt. Any other discussion, members? Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Rayhill?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell? Motion carried.
Okay, okay, Robert, number 4, action requested on the stone bid for the road department.
yeah, and that's normal. We got one. That's quality.
Quality.
But they did, they've kept the prices the same
Okay.
as last year, so, I mean, right on the same. So,
Well, I'll make that recommendation that we accept the bid from the quality stone for the bid for the road department.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell to approve the stone bid for the road department as presented. Any discussion? Sam, call the roll, please.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell? Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rayhill?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Fuel bid for the road department, Robert.
yeah, the fuel bid, I don't know if we need to run this through Rob, but we had none turned in. So I called around to see why. And so they run us one over yesterday. They're supposed to have been in by 4 Friday for an opening yesterday morning at 9. And they did run it over yesterday, and it's only one. That's the only one we ever get. And I've called Thornton's, I've called Argent Brides, I've called everybody trying to get them to bid it, but nobody's set up to pump the fuel up into our tanks, because everybody else has got in-ground tanks and they gravity it. So this is the only bid we ever get is Premier, which was formerly Stout. And,
If you do not receive any bids responsive to the bid notice, then the county can negotiate, have the right to then go out and seek out somebody and work out an agreement with them. So there's no problem with you reaching out to them and then submitting something to you.
Okay.
Since you did not receive any, now if you receive something, we'd be,
yeah,
and they determine in, it'd be a problem. Since
Yeah.
no one determined in, then at that point, you can just reach out to the company and negotiate an agreement. And if they send something in now,
yeah,
and that's okay to accept it.
okay.
Would that be worth looking into in the future, possibly doing underground tanks?
Well, I just soon do,
Thornton's, or if you go in with Thornton's, do they supply the tank, or is that something that we would have that could be universal for anybody? Maybe a more competitive situation, or?
I would think before we do that, we just go to a fuel card and do away with our tanks.
Yeah.
Because when we go underground tanks, we're going with the EPA and everybody else.
Regulations
And,
I just brought it up, I didn't know, just because if everybody else is set up for underground and only one's set up for above ground. How far are we away? I know we do have some fuel cards for some people, something we've talked about, is that something that we entertain possibly?
well, I don't want to interrupt you, but,
Yeah.
we'd rather not go to fuel cards because our trucks, when they come in, at the end of the day, as they're coming in, they just stop right at the fuel pump, fill up, go on back, clean them up and park them. So if we got to run to a fuel station somewhere, and we're going to lose another 15, 20 minutes there. So it is a real convenience and a money saving having them tanks right there. But if it gets to where it's going to be an expense, yeah, we'll do something else.
Well, the other thing too, in the evening and everything, they got their trucks filled up, ready to go, something like that, come out in the middle of the night, maybe they can't even get gas somewhere. Maybe the gas station shut down, but I have the gas over and everything, the fuel and everything that they need. I mean, they gotta come in 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and everything, if we snow or whatever, or something like that and everything, the truck's up and ready to go. But if they need fuel and everything, it's right there too.
Yeah, and our tanks are in real good shape, and they conform to all regulations that we need to conform to, and we ain't really got a problem with them, as long as we can keep somebody filling them.
So do we need a motion, that somebody had a chance to review that or look at that, or you want to go in negotiation outside of this, or you need a motion to accept it?
I mean, if Robert and the judge are comfortable, this is the best option to go with, and legally, there's no issue with you all moving forward.
Right.
I think it's the only option.
Well, fuel prices, I mean, they adjust as they go.
Yeah.
This might be the price today, but, I mean, it's $2.70.
Tomorrow morning, it could be 25 cents different.
I mean, that's, I think he charges, I mean, I would like to see what he charges over it.
I've got that over there. It's like 0.25 or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't have no choice.
Yeah.
Nobody
Whatever
pumps fuel
today's
up and
market
over.
is, that's.
Well, I'll make a recommendation, Robert, that we go ahead and accept that proposal from, is that Stout?
Well, it's Premier
Yeah,
now.
Premier.
He sold out.
Premier. So we'll accept that proposal from Premier for the fuel bid.
I'll second.
Okay, and any other discussion, members of the court? Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 3rd District Magistrate Laswell to approve the fuel prices presented by Premier. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Mitchell? Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. On number 6, actions requested to hire Brian McCullen and Christopher Ray here as full-time EMTs at a rate of $17.50 an hour, February 15th, today of 2022, and I'll make that recommendation.
I'll second it.
We've got a second by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell. Any discussion, members? The only comment I have is we're still short with the EMTs, and we're getting ready to implement Eric will bring it before the fiscal court, a proposal to train 9 paramedics as well of our current staff. And he will be prepared to do that at our March 1st meeting. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell? Motion carried.
Thank you. Actions requested to hire Shelley Kelly as a full-time animal care attendant at $12.25 per hour, effective today, February the 15th, 2022. I'll make that recommendation.
Second.
Got a second by 3rd District Magistrate Laswell. Any discussion, members? Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell? Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Number 8, actions requested on the resolution of the Bullitt County Board of Health establishing public tax rate for the year 2022 for the Bullitt County Public Health Taxing District. And it's remained the same for all 3 years we've sat on this board. It's probably one of the best, well-financed and well-ran health departments in the area outside of Jefferson counties. And I'm, same as last year. Got a motion by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by 3rd District Magistrate Laswell to approve the Bullitt County Board of Health taxing rate for 2022. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell? Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, now what we need a resolution 22-01, adopting and approving the execution of memorandum of agreement for the resurfacing of Holds Claw Hill from the Kentucky Department of Transportation. Got a motion by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by 4th District Magistrate Rahal to approve the resolution for memorandum of agreement for the resurfacing of Holds Claw Hill per Kentucky Department of Transportation. Sam, call the roll.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell? Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Number 10, surplus property from the Sheriff's Office. You can see the attached list, members.
Make a motion to meet surplus list from the Sheriff's Office. Second.
Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Rahal, a second by 2nd District Magistrate Logston to approve the surplus, the attached list from the Sheriff's Office for surplus property. Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Mitchell? Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Thank you, yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution 22-02, this is the same thing we've done literally almost each year. We need a resolution designating the applicant's agent, which is Justin Moran, as our Bullitt County's FEMA agent. And I will make that motion since Justin's the most familiar with it in the county.
Second.
Got a second by 2nd District Magistrate Logston. Any discussion, members? Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell? Motion carried.
And under new business, we have an addendum. This is one of my favorites, as we're getting close to the conclusion of this quest. Action requested on Resolution 22-03, authorizing the defeasance redemption payment and discharge of the county's obligation refunding bond series 2013, which is a detention center. It means, in other words, we're paying off the jail. I got a second by 2nd District Magistrate Laswell, and all the members of the court. I do make one comment. We will be debt-free by the time this administration's over. We have paid off $26 million worth of debt to where we couldn't even breathe the day we started in office in January 2019. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. At this time, Brian Blemo.
Good morning, members of the court. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Brian Blemo. I was just signed up to speak on the zoning, planning and zoning that y'all just denied, which is good, I think. I am not anti-development, I'm not pro-development, but I do think you need to do planning and zoning. So like y'all said, we need to do something with Highway 44. I don't care how you look at it, it's going to have to be widened. I know it's going to cost millions of dollars. I know it's a state road. I work for the county road department, so I know the difference between state, county, city, private. But before basically any more development can happen in between Shepherdsville and Mount Washington, they're going to have to do something with 44. And I know it'll take years, but they're talking about maybe, like Mr. Mitchell mentioned, the alternate route from 61 all the way up to Shelby County. That's not going to help 44. That's not going to help Bullitt County. So we need to look at something that's going to help the residents and the voters and the people in this county, you know, especially along Highway 44 from Shepherdsville to Mount Washington. I know they're going to, I think, put a turn lane in from Bullitt East to Kings Church Road. With that development, that would probably help, but there's not much traffic if you go out that way, you know. So I was kind of bringing up that, and my thinking on that is if we're going to develop property and it's going to be a major expense and we're putting traffic, that's my concern too. You know, a lot of apartments, a lot of houses, a lot more cars on the road. The developers, they're in it to make money. That's good, but let them pay a portion. Let the state pay a portion. Let the county pay a portion. You know, let's check with, like you said, state representatives, senators, see what we can do for grants. I'd like to see that happen. I'd also just kind of like to mention, you know, on the insurance premium surcharge, I know that y'all used all that money to pay off all the debt. That's good. But we did do it, or the court did it, by raising the insurance premium surcharge, which is an insurance tax. If you want to know, tax is the money the government, other than transaction for specific goods and services, a surcharge is an addition of an extra charge and agreed or stated. Usually it's like a fuel surcharge, something to that effect, because the price may vary. But I would like to see, which I know that's supposed to go away at July 1st, 2022, I think. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Sunset clause. But, so y'all voted to raise that. I called my insurance office this morning and talked to them. And according to what way I understand it, it was 5%. It went to 6.5%. The cities could take it. Most of them didn't. Most of them left it alone. Let y'all use the money. That's good. But we raised that from the people in the county. Everybody that has auto, home, you know, it says boats, anything other than health and life insurance was had a surcharge or a tax. And according to what I heard, it's 11.5% now. It was 5%, so it went up 6.5%. I know that goes away, but I'd like to see it not ever come back. I'm not for taxes. I'm not for big government. I also would like to state that we did all that, and then a little bit later, y'all canceled all the night meetings, you know, for the last about year and a half. I took a vacation day to come here and speak today. So, you know, most people have a job, work, you know, some people may be retired, you know, home people, but people shouldn't have to take a vacation day to come and to hear from their county government or to make a statement. You know, a lot of these people didn't want the zoning, you know, for all the houses and apartments. You know, they shouldn't have to take a day off work if they want to state that. You know, if I, in my way of thinking, you should have one meeting during the day, one meeting at night, every month. That way, if something comes up, people can speak about it. I'd also like to state something about the videos. I know y'all put it on YouTube, but as of last night, the one for February 1st still wasn't posted. I'd like to see them get on there a little quicker, you know, because 2 or 3 weeks later, after everything's went down, then people are seeing, well, this happened and that happened. And you'd also made a statement, Judge, about having Facebook Live where people could interact. But as far as I know, it's never happened, so I was just wondering about that. Have you ever found any more, because people can't come in during the day. Couldn't they at least watch it on their lunch break or a break at work?
Yep.
So, that's all I have. I just thought I'd bring up a couple things. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Richardson.
Morning, gentlemen, ladies. First off, I want to kind of just, I'm not going to beat a dead horse this morning. There's no need to doing that. I agree 100% with Mr. Logston, Magistrate Logston, on what he said during the speech reference to the HC development. Problem I have is when I look out my back door and I see apartments. You have to remember, gentlemen, if it's not in your area, you don't think about it. You don't think about things. I'm talking about things that are down the road coming. If this apartment, if these were all 44 West at Cupio, wouldn't affect me. I don't live in that area. But when it affects your area, always think, if it was your place, your property, you look out your back door and you see this. But my main reason is to publicly say thank you. You've seen what is going on. You took the bull by the horns, and I commend you for that. And I want to publicly say thank you to this group for seeing that. I want to publicly say thank you to Planning and Zoning, the group that first heard this and took the bull by the horns and said no. And I want to personally thank Felicia for keeping us in the loop with letters in reference to the meetings and things. But that's my thing this morning, is just to say thank you for hearing us out. And I want to thank the ones here that came to the meetings, that spoke from the heart. And they did. We were very concerned. Prayers work. I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mark. Magistrate Mitchell.
The only thing I see Larry out there, Larry, you might work with the mayor, but I see Larry out there. I wanted to bring him up for a minute. He was back in the office there somewhere. Where you disappear on the
But you're picking on the other way.
Yeah, I'm not going to get on him. Is he gone? He's on the way. He's got to fly. Just move down there. Well, we get the rest of this town. Larry, you come up, Larry.
You're on the hot seat.
I'm sorry, I was answering the phone. What can I do for you?
Larry, on this page, you never gives everything here on the for the code enforcement expenses between July 1st and July 31st and everything.
Huh? Well, by having a part-time person that would have the building, electrical, HVAC, push Felicia, and correct me if I'm wrong, commercial, residential, building, we would, if something was to happen, Jim, we could still be in compliance, and it would help us get caught up on footer inspection, or not footer inspections, but the electrical, the building,
the framing, and it would be on an as-needed basis. Because we're sitting over there with one person that if something happened, it would put you all in a bind to find somebody with a level 2. This man is one test away from his level 2, and I told you all the other day he had it. I was wrong, and that's why I sent the email. But he is one test away from getting it. And for what he's wanting, I think would be a no-brainer to put him on part-time to cover us in case of something happening. You can see by the numbers, we don't want to lose that. I mean, it's revenue for the county, and it's it's something I think we all need to take a little bit more closer look at investing in rather than not paying any attention to it. And I'm not saying that you haven't done that, but this county is growing, and it's growing rapidly. And I think it would be very good. You know, I know when we first started that over there, I came in right after 2004, but you know, it's came a long way, and we don't want to lose it. So just my thought, Judge asked me to get with Felicia and get some numbers together for you all, and that's what I done. And I only ran it for 6 months because them were accurate, true numbers. I didn't figure in all the paper and the office supplies and all that, but I guessed at the gas, guessed at the insurance, to put 30% on the IR for each inspector. So I'm pretty close. I'm within $10,000, $15,000, $20,000.
That's what I wanted to bring up and everything. You would consider that and everything, and maybe bring that back to us next meeting?
We will.
Okay.
It'll be on the March 1st docket.
Sir?
It'll be on the March 1st docket.
All right, thank you.
Sean?
I don't have a lot extra, but I do want to kind of commend the animal control shelter. I stopped by the other day over there.
Am I done?
Yeah. Thanks, Sean.
I stopped by. It's been a few weeks ago, Judge, but I stopped by over there and I talked to David and Tony, and I'd asked David how our partnership with Hardin County has been, and he sent me over a spreadsheet that's just unbelievable, the tracking that he's done over there as assistant director working with Tony. And it looked like, based on what I was able to tell from his spreadsheet and everything, that with us partnering with Hardin County Animal Control and Alley Cats, we've saved almost $5,500 close to it, just from September through December savings over there by partnering with them. So I know a lot of people in the animal world, you know, kind of curious how that partnership has played out, and I think according to them, it's really worked out well working with Hardin County Animal Control. You know, we've got a pre-scheduled, you know, if we have any animals that need care, shots or anything like that, you know, once a week they'll take them to Hardin County, and if there's not any new animals that come in and need it, but they save us in spots once a week. And it's really, really been a big savings. Looking at that spreadsheet, I'm just amazed at how well they're tracking things over there. Seems to be doing a good job. I know they dropped off that animal cage in Mount Washington. They were very appreciative of that. Mount Washington has somebody that acts as an animal control officer, and they were using just a cage with a ratchet strap kind of holding it in the back of the truck. So we were able to donate a real nice cage. Kennel that slides in the back of the truck. Of course, we talked about that last meeting, moving those equals. I just wanted to thank David and Tony, because you know, when I stopped by over there, the organization and tracking and stuff, cost is really on par. And he said by using Alley Cats, they'd save $38.74 just in those couple months, and then Hardin County Animal Control had saved them about $1,320. So some good savings there. And it seems like it's a good partnership moving forward.
Okay. Anything else, Sean?
Last thing, just please keep the Troutman family in your thoughts and prayers. Gail Troutman passed away in Mount Washington. I think they're having some services today, and the funeral might be tomorrow, but I know he was a lifelong leader there in Mount Washington area, way before I ever moved to Mount Washington. But he's done served on probably every committee, every board, every council there possibly is. I know he's very thought of and highly respected in the Mount Washington area, so please just keep him and his family making your thoughts and prayers.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Laswell.
I'm good.
Mr. Rahil.
Just, again, talk about infrastructure in this town, that's gonna be our push. Mr. Richards was talking about, there ain't a place in Bullitt County that's not growing. Maybe Cookeville, maybe the one is, but every place. I've lived out off of Keys Lane for 20 years now, and I never in my life thought there'd be warehouses out there, but there is. So everything, we're all getting affected by this. 65 is drawn, and we've got to figure it out as a community and as our things. But that's the biggest thing in this county right now is just trying to figure out how to accommodate all the people. Sure. But that's what I've got is, just put on our minds. I know it's been on our mind forever, but infrastructure is where it is. I know Keith lives up there, Frank. We're trying to get as much stuff done up there. We're doing what we can, but if you're thinking about anything, that's what we got to do. We got to figure out. But that's all I got to do.
Thank you. And in conclusion, everybody keeps talking about 44. We've probably shaken more trees about 44 than are as much there is. I know I've got two mayors here who have been to Frankfort with us, and we've met with the Speaker of the House, Mayor Taylor, and Mayor Dangerfield, and the President of the Senate, along with our representatives, and we're going back up there again at the end of this month. We had quite the candid conversation with the Speaker last week, and Keith is head of the Technical Transportation Committee at KIPTA, and I am KIPTA's board member to the ad districts for the entire Commonwealth of Kentucky. So that means we have opportunities to do something that we've never had before in this community, is to be able to bring back the dollars. But what we've had to do first, we have a grant for $2 million, of which the county's put up $400,000 for an environmental study and planning on Highway 44 that was exhausted under past administrations. So this is where we're at, and this is where we're moving. I might not never see it finished, but 44 is broke up into 5 sections from 61 all the way up to the Spencer County line. And we have every intent of getting this finished by the time we walk out this door. So you all can bear with us, or you can join us and reach out to your state representatives. Representative Huff is on the Transportation Committee. Representative Weber has gained seniority, and Senator Nemes has a ton of respect in Frankfort because of his legacy there of working in multiple departments, being deputy secretaries and secretaries of labor and other cabinets as well as being an elected state representative. So 44 change if y'all work with us. But, pushing the rope up the hill is not an easy thing to do. But we are pushing that rope up that hill, along like we have with water up at the top of Row Hill, all the way out on Vaughn, Grigsby, Rummage, Lee, John Lee, Cabin Wallace, and all the other roads that we're putting infrastructure into this county with potable water that folks don't have. We've also got a bid in right now about 1 gig of fiber optic for Browningtown, Solitude, Cedar Grove, Zonton. This is where this administration's at. This is what paying off the debt will get you. So this is where we're at as a fiscal court. This is what we're doing moving forward. We've ran this as a business, and we'll continue to run it as a good, healthy business moving forward. Sam, call the roll. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logsdon?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.